All right, so what this video is about is getting a Raspberry Pi up and running, or at least the SD card ready for Raspberry Pi to run Kodi, Fusion, OpenElec, all that stuff that you've heard about as far as watching TV on the internet or movies or TV series. I'm going to go into right away the software that's required and followed by the hardware that's required. If you don't have a Raspberry Pi, don't worry, there will be links below that'll help you locate those. I've been doing this for years and I've helped hundreds of people so far getting their Raspberry Pis up and running for Kodi. I was doing it for them. What's happening now is they want to learn how to update the SD cards themselves. Maybe they're glitchy after being used for a couple of years and they want to re-image those SD cards, or they want to update them, whatever the case may be. They're wanting to do it on their own. So this whole video is about getting that SD card ready from beginning to end as far as getting ready to plug it back into that Raspberry Pi. Now, getting the Raspberry Pi ready beyond that is going to be in video number 2, which we'll put a link for that as well underneath the video or in the video, somewhere along those lines. So let's get started right away with software for those of you that just want the list of software that's used. I know myself, I've come back often looking for the software on various videos, so I've decided to put them all three onto one. First piece of software that you're going to be using is called the SD formatter. Second piece of software that you're going to be needing is the 7-zip file manager. Third will be the Win32 disk imager. Again, that's SD formatter, 7-zip file manager, Win32 disk imager. I will have the labels of them under the video listed. The links, however, will not be available, and the reason for that is a lot of the links for download sites change from the suppliers or the providers. So I've decided to not provide the link only because it'll save you frustration in the end. Over time, those links change. You're going to click that link and it'll take you nowhere, which some of you may have experienced already in videos. The best thing I can recommend is use Google, Bing, Yahoo, whatever search engine you want to locate those files and get the current download links available, and that'll save you time. The second thing you're going to need is hardware. You want to go into your Raspberry Pi and pull out the SD card. Here's, for those of you that are familiar with it, please bear with me. A lot of people don't know the SD card, the information I'm going to be covering, and I want to be fair to all. So those of you that know about SD cards and micro SD cards, you can skip ahead. Those of you that want the info, please pay attention to the description. First version of Raspberry Pis were using the larger SD cards. So if you have a larger SD card, it would look something like this. And the more modern Raspberry Pis 2s and 3s, which have Wi-Fi built in, also have or use the what's called micro SD cards. Now there's two different sizes. A lot of the computers today's, the media readers don't have the slot for the micro SD. So when you buy an SD card or micro SD, it usually comes with an adapter. So what happens is this little micro SD plugs into the bottom of this micro SD, and this micro SD plugs into the computer itself to be read. If you don't have a media reader on your computer, that's okay. What they have is another piece of hardware, which is a media reader itself. So what happens here is you plug which is really new, and I love it because it has the micro USB as well now. So you have the USB that plugs into your computer, or if you're using a tablet, which most of them run off micro SD now, you can plug that into the tablet or computer. And the other end of it is your actual reader itself. So you've got the micro SD card slot here on the top, and you've got the SD card reader there on the bottom. And once you have that in your hand and you're ready to plug it in the computer, whether it be directly or with your adapter, that's the next step. So we're going to go right into that. We're going to go into the folder so you can see what happens when you plug in a new SD card or adapter, whatever the case may be for you. I want you to pay attention here on the right hand side. A new drive will appear. So there it is. If you get an alert, don't worry, go ahead and cancel it. And what you want to pay attention to is what drive letter came up. So in this case, the drive letter that appeared was the R drive, and that's what we're going to be focusing on. So all we're doing this for, the only reason we came to this screen was to see what drive came up when we plugged in that adapter. If you didn't see it, go ahead and take it out and plug it back in, and you wait for the sound and you wait for that drive to show up, and it'll show up for you. Once you have that, go ahead and minimize. We're going to use the first piece of software, which is the SD formatter. Whether the SD card is new or old, or you're reusing it, I recommend formatting it. It just gets it ready and cleans it for the new image that we're going to put on it. First thing you need to do is make sure you have the right drive letter. Now this is crucial. So go ahead and make sure you have the right drive letter. In my case, it was R. Labeling the volume is entirely up to you. I use the labeling when I'm doing this for other people. I'll put their names there as a way to decipher all the different chips that I'm doing for people. Once you have that selected, go ahead and hit Format. And it gives you an alert. Go ahead and OK. It gives you another alert. Go ahead and OK. Now, what happens sometimes if you're formatting an SD card that has data, you're going to get an alert. So that's okay. Don't worry about that. Go ahead and hit OK. And you get some weird symbols that appeared in the volume label. So go ahead and highlight all those and delete them and format again. And this will do away with that problem. And now what you want to see is drive format complete. So that SD card is now ready for the image that you're going to be downloading. So you don't need this anymore. Go ahead and exit out of that. The next thing you want to do is go to the OpenElec.tv website. That's OpenElec.tv. Now we'll have the link to this only because it takes you to the actual OpenElec site, the main page. I don't go beyond that because, again, like I said earlier, links can change, and I don't want you to have any frustration or anxiety towards getting your chip ready for the Raspberry Pi. So once you're on the main site, go ahead and click on the Download tab, and that'll bring you to the page with all the download links. You want to scroll down until you see Raspberry Pi builds, and now you have your first Raspberry Pi generation, which is a larger SD card, and the newer modern Raspberry Pis 2s and 3s. Now we'll have links to Raspberry Pis down below the video if you want to update your library or increase the Raspberry Pis. I've got Raspberry Pis now in every room, every TV really, and a lot of friends and people I've helped have multiple units in the homes now as well. So the link down below for the best pricing. So what we're doing here is we're going to be downloading the disk image. Please be aware that you're not downloading the update file, you're downloading the disk image file. So we're going to click on that, a box will appear. You want to hit beside save the down arrow, you want to save as, and then the crucial part here is remembering where you save that item. So we're going to be going into my storage folder 1. I've created a folder for this purpose, RPi1 or 1 RPi. The reason I put a number in front of it, just a tidbit here, if you have a lot of folders and you want to get quick access to it, put a number in front of it, 1 or the letter A, and I have it set up, and most computers are set up to read numerical first, followed by alphabetical. So putting a number 1 in front of it puts it right at the top as far as my list goes, so it makes it quicker to find it. So go ahead and click on the folder that you choose, or if you didn't see one there and you want to create one, go ahead and create one. And then once you're in that folder, I like to separate things. So in this case, I'm going to create a new folder in here, and I'm going to call this one OpenElec. And then I'm going to click away from it. I'm going to go highlight it again or double click it. Now I'm in the OpenElec folder, this PC storage RP1 OpenElec, and now you're ready to save that GZ file. Go ahead and hit save. Doesn't take long at all. It's like split second. So what you want to see is download has completed. Go ahead and X out of this. You can minimize the main web page. And the next step will be to extract that GZ file. The GZ file is not readable from Raspberry Pis. You need to actually extract that image file, if you will. So we do that by using the 7-zip file manager. And usually what you'll see here is the main page. And you want to go into the proper drive where you've stored that image, which is RPi1 for me, OpenElec, and then there's the GZ file. You want to find this GZ file. Once you found the GZ file, if it's not highlighted, go ahead and highlight it, and then you want to extract. It's going to ask you where you want to extract it to. Now, if you want to leave it in that folder, that's fine. It'll create a new folder with this title on it, so it's not going to mesh with all the data that's already in that folder. You just got to remember what it's called. Again, my case, I like to have everything separated. So I'm going to create a new folder by hitting the box with 3 dots. It's already highlighted as far as where I am right now, OpenElec. So here I want to make a new folder, and I'm going to call this one complete. Now you want to click away from that box. What's going to happen is a split second, you're going to see it change from new folder to complete. Once that's done and it's highlighted, go ahead and hit OK. Now it's extracting to this location, which is the one I chose and created. I know where it is. I'm going to hit OK. Now this takes again like a split second and it's done. We're done here. We can minimize or close that out. The next step, which is the final step, is going to be imprinting that image onto the card, the SD card. So to do that, we're going to use the disk Win32 disk imager. Double click it. The first thing it asks you is where's that image file. So we're going to find out by going to that folder icon. Click on that. Go into your PC, which is going to be storage 1 for us, RPi, OpenElec, complete folder, and then there's the folder it created. What you're looking for ultimately is the type of file called disk image file, and there's the title. So you want disk image file, highlight that, go ahead and hit open. And then the second thing that's crucial is you want to make sure you have the right drive letter, which remember at the beginning the first thing we did was to find out what that drive letter was going to be, and it's R for us in this case. So whatever that drive letter is for you, make sure you click the right drive letter. Once you have the file image that you need and you've selected the right drive to imprint that image, go ahead and hit write, and it gives you a little warning. Go ahead and hit yes when you're ready, and this will take a little while, so I'm going to pause it and I'll resume when it's closer to the end. And we're getting up to the last few percentages here to complete. What you want to see is that complete write successful box appear. Once you have that, you go ahead and hit OK. We're done with Win32 disk imager. We can go ahead and exit that. And if you have this alert, go ahead and hit cancel. What you can do now, if you choose to, is go into that folder, open up your USB drive, and what you want to see is this type of images, these types of files in there. If you see that everything is good, go ahead and back out of that, and you're ready to extract that SD drive and plug it into your Raspberry Pi and power it up. So now what I recommend is don't just pull that SD card out. Go ahead and right click on that drive where the SD card is and hit the eject button. Now you're ready to pull the SD card, power off your Raspberry Pi, put that SD card in your Raspberry Pi, power your Raspberry Pi back up, and see you on video number 2. If you liked this video, please hit the like button. If you want to subscribe, feel free, and we'll see you on video number 2. Comments are always welcome.